Hello, and welcome to episode 74 of the Compassion and Cucumbers podcast. I'm Christine.
And I'm Sam.
How you doing?
Got to admit, a little sleepy today.
Yeah, we're both a little tired today because yesterday was Super Bowl Sunday. And for the first time in a long time, I can't even remember the last time, we went to a Super Bowl party. My sister had us over.
Yeah.
And we had foods and fun and watched the game. And why doesn't the Super Bowl start earlier in the day?
Yeah, really. I mean, I have to say, though, I think this is the first football game I've ever watched from start to finish.
Really?
In my entire life.
No kidding.
Yeah, pretty sure.
Well, it was a good game.
It was a good game. I mean, as football games go, I thought it was pretty interesting. You know, things kept moving and kept changing, and, you know, it wasn't quite as boring as I expected it to be.
It was, as Super Bowls go, it was one of the more exciting Super Bowls that I've watched. It kept tying up and then going back and forth and right down to the wire. Sam, I could see in Sam's eyes, though, because she said, what happens if they're still tied and the game comes to an end? And I said, well, it goes into overtime. And she's like, oh.
Are you serious? Really?
Oh, because it's already almost 10 o'clock at night.
Well, yeah.
I mean, we're over, we're an hour away.
We're over an hour away. So. Yeah. And it's just, and, some of us have to work in the morning.
Yeah. But I think it was worth staying up. We had a really good time.
Oh, we did. We had a great time.
It turned out it just ended up being Sam and I and my sister and her husband, my brother-in-law.
Yeah, it was just the four of us.
Yeah. So it was just us old folks.
And a really cute ginger kitten.
Yeah, and Sonny, the ginger kitten.
Mm-hmm.
He is very cute.
He's adorable.
Yeah. So I made a big batch of vegan chili.
I love that chili.
And turned out Sam and I were the only ones eating it. So we had plenty of chili.
And we actually had chili again for supper tonight.
We did, because there was a lot of chili. And, lots of good toppings, guacamole. My sister made a really good guacamole, so we put some guacamole on it. I had some Follow Your Heart sour cream. Thank you.
There you go.
And don't know if you know this, but Fritos are vegan.
They are.
And Fritos are also very good on top of a chili.
They are.
So we had stopped at the store on our way to my sister's, and I just happened to see a bag of the Fritos scoops things. I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot how good Fritos are on chili.
It was an excellent touch.
Yeah.
I think it's probably been decades since I've had Fritos.
Yeah, it's been a long time for me, too.
And it was a really nice addition.
It was.
To the chili, just that extra hit of salt or something.
Yeah, they're salty and
really
greasy.
Good.
They're really not good for you. But, every once in a while, they taste good.
Yeah. It was very tasty.
Yeah, and it reminded me of that thing that I've seen people make, on traveling cooking shows, like diners, drive-ins, and dives, and those kinds of shows, where in the South they do this thing. It's called Frito pie, where they just cut open a bag of Fritos and they dump a chili sauce in there, and usually a cheese sauce or something like that, and they serve it right like that out of the bag with a fork.
Okay, then.
Yeah,
there you go.
Chili pie. It's a Southern thing, I think.
All right,
maybe Texas. I'm not sure.
I have no frame of reference on this one.
Yeah, Super Bowl Sunday was fun.
It was.
And then Saturday.
Our Saturday was pretty cool, too.
Going back in time. What did we do Saturday?
Saturday, we were vendors at the Valentine's Day pop-up market at the Vegan Center in Tonawanda. And that's always a good time.
It was a rockin' good time.
It really was. Traffic was kind of slow. Not a lot of people around for this particular market, but...
Not one of the more well-attended markets that we've been to there, but we still had a good time.
We still had a great time. And it also gave us a chance, because we don't go up to Tonawanda nearly enough. And it gave us a chance to check out a few things that we'd been missing. So, for example, when we got to the Vegan Center, it was a little bit early, and they weren't ready to open the doors and let the vendors in yet. So we headed just 4 minutes away to the vegan grocery store to grab a couple of their new breakfast sandwiches.
Yeah, the vegan grocery store just recently started doing their grab-and-go foods. Mm-hmm. And I got a vegan bacon, egg, and cheese on a plain bagel.
And I got a vegan sausage, egg, and cheese on an everything bagel.
Yes, and they were delicious.
They really were.
It totally hit the spot for me.
It really did. Yeah. And I was thrilled that the bagels weren't like full-on huge bagels.
Yeah, not only that, they're gluten-free.
Right. They were the gluten-free, I think they're called O'Doughs.
Yeah, maybe.
I think it's O'Doughs.
Yeah.
And they're a gluten-free bagel thin, pretty much. And I thought that worked really, really well.
Yeah, you're not getting too much bread
right
in the sandwich. I thought it was perfect. And I can't remember what brand of vegan bacon that they're using, but I love it.
Cool.
Really good.
Yeah, but I was very pleased with the breakfast sandwich. It hit the spot. And it was good that there wasn't too much bread because, we had too much bread later.
Right.
Because after the market, one of the reasons we think that this market wasn't particularly well attended is because there wasn't a vendor doing hot food attached to it.
Yeah.
In the last few that we've been to, there's always been a hot food vendor.
Mm-hmm. True. And that's a draw. That's a big draw.
Oh, huge. Yeah. Absolutely. So because there wasn't one, I think that's part of why the attendance was down a little bit.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. But so afterwards, we decided to take advantage of the fact that we were in Tonawanda and we headed over to Wurlitzer Pizza to get pizza.
Yeah, you know what? Tonawanda's got it going on for vegan stuff.
It really does.
I mean, there's a couple of solely vegan restaurants there, and Wurlitzer isn't a solely vegan pizzeria, but they have
a huge menu, which we have talked about before.
Yeah, it's an extensive
vegan menu. And of course, there also you've got the vegan grocery store and you've got the vegan center. And yeah, it's
good and evil.
It's great. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, not to interrupt what you were saying, but to go back to the market, there were some new vendors there.
There were.
And one in particular that their product really kind of blew our minds.
Yeah, this was something that I had never seen before. There was a candy vendor who I believe was new to the market, and they are Jenny Cat's Candy.
Mm-hmm.
And what they do is freeze-dried candy.
Yeah, they get vegan candies, Skittles, Laffy Taffy.
Fruit roll-ups,
any kind of candy.
Vegan marshmallows.
Yeah, that's vegan. And explain the process. What do? They
put it in a freeze dryer. And so what a freeze dryer does is obviously it freezes whatever items you've put in there, but then it also extracts that water. So it basically dehydrates them, but at the same time kind of makes them light and fluffy.
Yeah, they picture a Skittle. If a Skittle was like popcorn and it just went boom.
Yes. Yes.
And popped up.
Blew up.
And it changes the flavor
a little bit.
And of course, the mouthfeel is completely different. It's now kind of a crunchy, melty. Yeah. It's like a popcorn Skittle.
Well, yes. I mean, I think the texture is similar to almost a meringue.
Right. Yeah.
Like a crunchy meringue.
Yeah.
Which I think is really interesting. And so I was flummoxed.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting process.
Yeah, I was completely flummoxed by this. But anyway, so I was talking to Jenny and Kat about their candy, and, they offered me a sample Skittle, and I tried it, and I was just like, oh, my God. That is one of the coolest things ever.
Yeah, it's a really cool idea.
Yeah, very cool idea. So we got some of the Skittles, and we got some of the Laffy Taffy, and tried them out, and they're just really, really good. So would definitely send you in the direction of Jenny Cat's Candy.
Yeah, not exactly sure where all you can get their products, if they're just vending or if you can get their products online or anything. We'll look into that.
Yeah, we will. We'll find out and let you know. But
report back. But
really interesting.
Yeah, the Laffy Taffy, it's like everything that they freeze dry, like it explodes. So like the Laffy Taffy were these like puffy little balls of Laffy Taffy flavored meringue.
Yes. That's
so
exactly what was going on. It was really cool.
The fruit roll-offs were like poof. I don't know how to describe it other than to say poof.
Apparently that's where you're going today.
Yeah, it was just so cool. I've never seen anything like that before. Really inventive and really interesting. And we were talking and I'm like, man, if I had one of those, I would just be sticking everything in there just to see what would happen to it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. So we've decided we cannot get Christine a freeze dryer.
No.
No, that will not happen.
No. I'm like, what would happen if I put a meatball in the freeze dryer?
What would happen if I put Chirpy in the freeze dryer?
Wouldn't put one of the cats in the freeze dryer. That would be terrible. But
it's just because Chirpy's such a floof. It would be funny to see him floof even more.
That's terrible.
It is terrible.
Yeah. Okay. So then we went to Wurlitzer, but we couldn't decide.
Wait, if we're talking about the market still, then we have to talk about the lovely edibles that we got from Buffalo's V-Spot.
Okay, go ahead. Talk about those.
Yeah. So we, of course, love Buffalo's V-Spot, and they were selling just some packaged treats at the market instead of doing their usual takeover of the kitchen. But we got from them a box that they called the Grand.
The Grand. Yeah, it was really great. They had all this really beautifully packaged kind of Valentine-themed candy boxes.
Yes, they did. They were really cool. And so inside the Grand, you got some chocolate-covered nuts, and you got some turtles, and you got some, I don't even know what to call them, but they were like peanut butter cookie dough with pretzel covered in chocolate and some caramel, and they were ridiculous.
It's just like clusters.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely ridiculous. And then there was some nut brittle and some toffee and a miniature cheesecake with a cookie on top of it.
Yeah.
And
like a what are those cookies?
Biscoff?
Biscoff.
Yeah, it looks kind of like a Biscoff cookie. Yeah, those ones that Lucy likes so
my
much.
brain's not really working so well today. Well, what else is new? But it's working even less well today.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But anyway, just this beautiful box of sweets that we took with us to Linda and Rudy's on Super Bowl Sunday. And we also got a half dozen of their freshly baked peanut butter cookies.
Oh, really good. Those cookies were really good.
Amazing.
I still have a couple left.
Yes, you do.
Do I?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
The 2 remaining are yours because I woke up in the middle of the night.
Did you?
And ate my last peanut butter cookie.
Yeah, that's the thing when there's sweets like that in the house. You will wake up in the middle of the night and go, ooh, peanut butter cookie.
Peanut butter cookie.
Yeah.
That's right. So, no, but the ones that remain are yours. They are not mine.
Oh, good.
So we had those, and it was really just delightful to be able to get those. They were also selling some vegan toffee popcorn.
Yeah, toffee popcorn. There was some of that in the box.
Yep. And they had some cake pops and just all kinds of lovely
peanut brittle.
Peanut brittle and just all kinds of lovely, yummy things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Very cool.
Yeah. And although we did miss their hot food offerings because their food is just fantastic, I thought it was really cute. And their table was so cute.
Oh, it was adorable.
Yeah.
The sparkly red tablecloth.
Yeah.
And really
they
great.
went totally all out with the Valentine's Day theme. So that was cool.
Yep.
And we did pretty well at the market, you know. Sam sold some scarves. I sold some stickers. We had some really interesting conversations with people there. So even though it wasn't a well-attended market, it was a win for us. So.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I just like going up there and getting to talk to people and, you know, getting to know folks in that area and all of that. Yeah, it was wonderful. And so, you know, special shout out to Annette from Food Not Bombs.
Yeah, thanks, Annette. Had a good conversation.
Had a great conversation with Annette.
Yep. And thank you so much, Marcy, for hosting these events.
Absolutely.
And she picked our brains a little. She's got some ideas on how to develop the community even further there at the Vegan Center. And she asked us if we would be willing to host a trivia night. And I said,
absolutely.
That sounds like a blast.
Yeah. So we're all in on that.
Yeah, we might be doing that in the future there at the Vegan Center.
Yeah. So. And once we have more details, we'll be sure to let you know.
Yep, we will.
So post-market, we closed up shop for the day and decided to head over to Wurlitzer Pizza because they do have a phenomenally large vegan menu. And we had not had a chance to get up there in, I want to say, over a year.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while since we've been to Wurlitzer. So off we went and took a look at the menu, and we just decided to get 2 pizzas.
We couldn't decide.
We couldn't decide. And since we get up there so rarely, we figured, you know what, let's just get 2 pizzas. We'll take them home. We'll have some leftovers.
Yep, we still have leftover pizza.
Yes, we do. And so the 2 pizzas we got were their Mediterranean, which was my request. And that had some roasted Brussels sprouts and tomato and Kalamata olives
and also green olives, like the big green olives.
Big green olives.
Never had green olives on a pizza before. It was good.
Yep.
And every once in a while you get that little hit of like tang, you know, from the green olive. Yep. Really good.
And of course, had some peppers and onions and some spinach and house-made vegan feta and house-made vegan mozzarella. So that was just a beautiful, beautiful pizza.
Was delicious.
Then the second one we got was their vegan chicken ranch pizza.
Yeah, and they do all their own proteins. They don't use frozen product or anything like that.
Nope.
They make all their proteins in-house, and their ranch chicken has a tofu chunk, fried tofu-based chunk chicken substitute. And it's really good. It's
so good.
Really flavored and seasoned.
Yeah.
Right? It's really good.
Yeah, it was funny because, my request was for the Mediterranean pizza because I wanted all the veg. But then I tried the chicken ranch pizza and I was like, oh my God, that's good.
Yeah, I think you like that one even better.
Well, I like them both equally. They're just very, very different.
Super different,
and I hadn't had anything like the chicken ranch pizza in I don't know how long. So I don't know. Just it hit the spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was great.
So that was our weekend. It was jam-packed.
It was a jam-packed weekend.
Yeah, we had a good time.
Yeah.
Both Saturday and Sunday, and now I am exhausted.
Yeah. And you didn't even have to go to work today.
I didn't have to go to work today. I'm a housewife, but I had work to do here, but it doesn't compare to I did get up this morning early, but it doesn't compare to having to get up. There's something different about getting up early and having to get up early.
Yeah.
It's a completely different mindset.
Totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll be glad to get to bed tonight.
For sure.
So that's our weekend. Hey, let's move on to our recipe.
Go for it.
We have a recipe this week, and let's just jump into it. Here is this week's recipe from our vegan kitchen. This week, I wanted to talk about a recipe that I made, I believe it was last week. And this is a recipe. It doesn't really have a name. It's I made a vegetable fried rice, and I topped it with a breaded cauliflower that I tossed in gochujang sauce. If you're not familiar with gochujang, it's kind of a Korean sweet and sour sauce. It's really good.
It is very tasty.
Yeah, I want to get a recipe to make my own gochujang, but there are some really good jarred and bottled gochujang sauces out there. Highly recommend. Grab yourself a bottle of it and try it. Toss your tofu in it. Toss some vegetables in it. It's a really good, quick way to make kind of a takeout-ish feeling meal.
Yeah, because every now and again, you just get that kind of jonesing for takeout Chinese food.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And this definitely hits the spot. So what else went into your recipe?
Well, I use, it's always good when you're doing fried rice, is to use rice that you've already made ahead. It does something, the cooking of the rice and then the chilling of the rice does something to the starches in the rice. It just makes a better fried rice. I don't know why. Everybody just says to do it that way. So I just happened to have some leftover white rice. It was actually a jasmine rice, I think.
Okay.
And so I'm like, I think I'll make a fried rice. So I just, rice, cut up carrots really small. I put some sweet pepper cut up really small. May have put some broccoli in there and just cut the vegetables, small. Yeah. Really small dice. And then I broke up some firm tofu to kind of simulate the egg that they sometimes put in fried rice.
Sure.
And then I just did what it says. I fried it in a pan.
Of course. As you do with fried rice.
I did with a little bit of olive oil, and then I think I tossed in a little bit of sesame oil partway through the cooking process just to kind of bump up the flavor a little bit. And then I just topped it with the
gochujang cauliflower.
Yeah. And that's just a baked, breaded and baked. I just make a simple batter with flour and some spices and you can either use water or a little bit of plant milk, and then dip it in that, and then dip it in panko,
Yeah,
and then bake
nice
it.
and crunchy.
Just bake it till it's a little golden brown, and then I just tossed it in the sauce and put it on top of the rice, and it was good.
It was very good.
Yeah.
Yep. It was very good.
Yeah.
Yep. One of Christine's absolutely fabulous improvisations.
Yeah, and I don't know if I had the cauliflower cooked ahead of time. I may have. It may have been left over from something else.
From another recipe?
From a buffalo cauliflower I was making.
Oh, yeah, because didn't we do like buffalo
I think we did
cauliflower tacos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like anytime I make anything like that, I make a little extra. So
Yeah, so it feeds into another recipe.
Yeah,
That makes perfect sense.
Yep. So the leftover cauliflower, some of it was breaded and baked, but I didn't toss it in the...
Right. It wasn't sauced.
Yeah, I didn't sauce it. So I just put it in the refrigerator and then just baked it a little bit before tossing it in the gochujang, just to crisp it back up. Bob's your uncle.
Right.
You know? Mm-hmm. It's good to have those things ready, like the rice. If you're making rice, make extra rice so you have it.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Makes for a quick meal. That meal didn't take me, definitely under an hour.
For sure.
To make, maybe 40 minutes altogether.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's this week's recipe of the week from our vegan kitchen.
Cool. Now, before we get into our main topic, which I know Christine in particular is really excited to talk about.
Yeah, I really am.
I did want to toss out this noteworthy piece of news. European grocery chain Lidl is moving away from animal products and pushing plant-based foods as there is, quote, no second planet.
Yeah, if you're not familiar with Lidl is similar to our Aldi's.
Yes.
Whereas their Aldi's in the UK are actual big grocery stores.
Right.
So Lidl is comparable to our Aldi's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we just think it's super cool that Lidl is moving away from animal products. We actually ran into the Erie Aldi on our way to our Super Bowl engagement yesterday. And this Aldi was a bit larger than the one that we have here in Fredonia.
Yeah, it's a little bigger.
A little bigger. But what we also noticed was that they had a lot more meat products.
Yeah, I kind of don't even look when I go past the meat. I just kind of turn my head.
Right.
But it did feel like it was a larger area.
Yes, it was a larger area of the store than what ours is.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, so I guess pros of that Aldi's is when you first walk in, it's the produce section.
I love that.
Which is different from ours, which when you first walk into our Aldi,
it's all the snacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all the junk food.
You have to go through snacks and then breads and then produce.
Right.
And they had a much larger produce section.
Yeah, it was a significantly larger produce section. That
definitely
was nice.
more fruits than our Aldi carries.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yay Lidl.
Yay Lidl.
And I hope that our Aldi's would do something like that. I mean, they do. Aldi's here does have quite a few vegan options.
Absolutely. And, they have their own vegan brand.
Yeah.
Earth Grown Vegan.
Yeah, Earth Grown.
There it is. Earth Grown Vegan. So, I would love to see our Aldi have more of those products around consistently.
Sure.
Because it's kind of hit or miss.
Yeah. Not that we don't buy a whole lot of pre-made products.
No, we don't.
No. I mean, we go through phases, like around the holidays and stuff, we try and stock up on that kind of stuff.
Well, right. That's when we go Trader Joe's crazy.
Yeah.
And get all the fun appetizers and things like that. That's, but that's the holidays.
But we did score yesterday when we were at Aldi's.
Some veggie spring rolls.
Sam found some veggie spring rolls.
Yeah.
So. Those are always good. Like if it's a Sunday afternoon or whatever, pop some of those into the air fryer. And they're good.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yay, Lidl's. Thank you very much, Lidl's. Because yes, Lidl. there is no second planet. That's
so true.
For sure.
So very true. All right. Well, I think it's time that we let Christine loose on the main topic.
This week's main topic is punk rock vegan movie.
Well, I think punk rock means something, It's to everything, absolutely everything. Everything that's gone before, you know.
Punk rock got me into politics, social justice, anti-racism, women's rights, economic justice, what have you, anarchism.
I got introduced to the concepts of environmentalism through hardcore shows, concepts around like sweatshop, fair trade, all of that.
In the mid-90s, there was sort of this like revolution of just a million vegan straight edge bands.
And we were on a mission. We're going to educate people on animal rights. Like, that's going to be the focus of our band.
When I became a vegan, it was very much like an animal rights thing. It was very much about animal liberation and
yeah, so punk rock vegan movie by Moby.
Yes.
Written, directed, produced. He did a lot of the, there's some illustration going on there, some animation.
Did a lot of the cinematography.
Yeah, cinematography. Yeah. This was really a labor of love. He's worked on this movie for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And has now released it for free. And just a little warning before we get into reviewing it, there are some disturbing scenes of animals in factory farms.
Yes.
In this film.
Yes.
So just be forewarned, there is some disturbing footage of animals in the film.
Yes, absolutely. So, yeah. Let's be clear. We're not talking about Dominion level.
No.
Disturbing.
No,
but there are
disturbing.
some imaging. There are some images of animals in factory farm situations.
Yeah, definitely disturbing nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And before we jump into the movie, how about a little background on Moby?
Okay. Well, what I can tell you is that Moby was born September 11th, 1965.
Yeah, me and Moby are the same age.
Yeah.
I'm actually a couple months older than him.
There you go. A couple months older than Moby. And his full name is Richard Melville Hall. He is an American musician, songwriter, singer, producer, and animal rights activist who has sold 20 million records worldwide. AllMusic considers him to be among the most important dance music figures of the early 1990s, helping bring dance music to a mainstream audience both in the U.S. and the U.K.
Yeah, and his father actually gave him the name Moby 3 days after his birth, as his parents considered the name Richard to be too large for a newborn baby, and I agree there.
I agree. That's a lot for a baby to handle.
Baby Richard. Or
yeah.
They call him Richie, maybe, I guess.
Or Ricky.
Or Dickie. The name was also a reference to the family's ancestry. Moby says that he is the great nephew of Herman Melville, author of Sam's favorite book, Moby Dick. Sam does not like Moby Dick.
I really don't. I actually think it's one of the worst books ever written, but that's no offense to Melville at all. Just It's not my cup of tea.
Yeah, not your cup of tea.
No.
So Moby has been Moby pretty much all of his life. He actually lost his father, I think when he was 2 or 3. His father died in a drunk driving incident.
Oh,
so
that's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in addition to his music career, Moby is very well known for his veganism and his support for animal rights and liberation. And he was the owner of Tea New York, which was a vegan cafe in Manhattan, as well as Little Pine, a vegan restaurant in Los Angeles. He also organized the vegan music and food festival Circle V. He's the author of 4 books, including a collection of his photography and 2 memoirs. Porcelain, a memoir which was published in 2016, and Then It Fell Apart, which was published in 2019.
Yep.
This is a busy guy.
Yeah, Moby took up music at the age of 9, started on classical guitar, and received piano lessons from his mother before he started studying jazz music and music theory and percussion in 1983. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that Moby is a fantastic drummer. And if you look at his social media or his YouTube channel, lots of videos of him in his drum studio, and they're fun to watch. He became the guitarist in a hardcore punk rock band, the Vatican Commandos, great name,
Awesome name.
in 1983. So he was just a teenager, playing on their debut EP, Hit Squad for God. Around this time, he was the lead vocalist for Flipper for 2 whole days. And
Nice.
Moby played bass for their reunion show in the 2000s.
He has also formed a post-punk group named AWOL around the time of his 18th birthday, and he is credited on their only release, a self-titled EP, as Moby Hall.
Yep. So, yeah, I was thoroughly excited for the release of this movie, as I am from that era, the 80s punk, late 70s and 80s punk scene. Loved that music. And Sam really wasn't familiar with a lot of the music or the musicians that were involved in this movie, but I was. But I still think that it's a great movie, even if you're not a punk rock fan.
Oh, absolutely. I enjoyed the movie thoroughly. I didn't go into it with the same frame of reference as you did, certainly. Right. A lot of the information was brand new to me, which is never a problem because I love learning stuff.
Yeah.
And so I found the movie to be really engaging. I certainly had not been aware of the intimate connection between punk rock and the animal liberation movement.
Right. Yeah. And it started with the straight edgers.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard that phrase, straight edge, which is, it's funny. It seems like mostly boys. I have seen some women call themselves straight edge, but straight edge is they do no drugs, no alcohol. They don't put anything into their body that will cause any harm. And then part of that straight edge thing was vegetarianism is how it started. And now a lot of them have since gone vegan. So that's where kind of the movement started. The punk rock vegan movement kind of came out of the straight edge scene.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. The movie starts off with this really adorable animation that Moby drew of this little cow. And he's like,
I did love
little
this
cow
animation. It was
shows up in the corner.
Ridiculous.
And the little cow comes running across the screen, and he disappears, and he peeks out again. And then you can see there's like a sign laying, like a protest sign laying on the ground. And the little cow runs up to the protest sign and holds it up, and it says, "It begins."
Yeah.
I believe is what it said.
It begins.
It was really cute. The animation and some of the sequences between parts of the movie were really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I thought all of it was just really, really well done. And again, for me, not knowing a lot of the information and being new to the whole premise of it, those moments of, there were some really kind of great moments of like satire and really great moments of animation stuff that kind of just pulled the whole thing together.
Yeah.
That I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I think it was really well put together, story-wise.
Yeah.
And like you said, breaking it up with those little bits of satire and stuff. And like the opening scenes, it's Moby sitting in his garden playing chess with his dog. With his dog, Bagel. And Bagel is asking him to describe the punk scene of that time, the early punk scene of that time. And so his conversations with Bagel are hysterical.
They are.
And informative.
Yes.
But they're really cute. In his first conversation with Bagel, he credits Iggy Pop with starting the punk movement in the late 70s, although I don't believe that Iggy Pop is a straight edger. He was always kind of known for doing drugs and drinking and whatnot. But he may be vegan. I'm not exactly sure if Iggy Pop is vegan. Love Iggy Pop's music. If you're not familiar with Iggy Pop's music, I'll tell you what, I've already started a Spotify playlist that I'm going to share in the show notes.
Oh, cool.
That kind of goes with this movie. A lot of the bands and a lot of the songs and a lot of the music that they talk about in the movie, I put on this playlist. So
smart.
Yeah. I thought it'd be fun for people to check it out.
Yeah.
Whether you like punk music or not, it's interesting, at least as a musician, I'm interested in all kinds of different kinds of music.
Of course.
You know, just to hear what the songs are about and find the lyrics, because a lot of them you're not going to be able to understand what they're saying.
Very true.
Because especially a lot of the hardcore punk, they scream.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was one thing that I definitely recognized as I was watching the movie. I was like, you know what? I would not have done well at a punk show.
Right.
You know, because of course, you know, there's a pretty big, like, you know, almost a mosh pit.
I mean, it's a pit.
It's the pit, of people up by the stage going crazy. And, you know, so much of the singing, and I'm doing air quotes as I say that, is essentially screaming. I would not have done, I would have had to, you know, flee.
Yeah,
the scene.
The hardcore punk
would not
rock
have worked
scene
for me.
The hardcore punk rock scene is can be very testosterone fueled. A lot of slamming into each other. And, you don't want to go anywhere near the pit.
No.
At one of those shows.
No, that was very clear.
Unless you want to get hurt, because it gets pretty crazy. Yeah. They interviewed so many great people in the punk movement. Mm-hmm. It was just phenomenal. One great person in the punk movement after another.
Yeah, that was really cool. Like the number of musicians and, you know, artists and tattoo artists and everyone who came out in support of the film and to talk about their experience in the punk rock scene was really pretty incredible.
Yeah. And if you're not into punk music or have maybe a little knowledge of punk music and have an idea in your head of what a punk musician will be like, most of them are very intelligent and well-spoken people. You know?
Yeah, wonderfully articulate. Yeah, you know, the onstage image is completely different from what you get in a face-to-face interview.
Yeah,
it was incredible.
Especially HR from the band Bad Brains. He is this so soft-spoken man. He's so, you would never know, you know, then that they get up on stage and they're just like a completely different animal,
right?
You know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's often true of performers in general. You know?
Yeah.
Both of us being performers, you know, I don't think we should be entirely surprised by that.
No. But I think punk music, and I think the film beautifully illustrated this without actually saying it, that punk music picked up where the music of the 60s left off.
Yeah.
As far as protest songs and protest music.
Yeah, I think that's very fair to say.
Yeah, because like mainstream rock and roll of the 70s and early 80s really didn't have a whole lot to say about what was going on in the world.
No, it really didn't. I mean, if you think of a lot of the popular music of the 70s, of course, that's when, you know, disco made its appearance.
Well, yeah, there's that.
You know, disco was all about excess and, you know, huge, everything was, you know, drugs and glamour and alcohol and, you know, in the disco scene. So it makes sense that the punk scene would be in really stark contrast to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Nikki Garrett of the UK Subs said that punk is about political things, not about fashion, you know, it's not about love songs, stuff like that. And the driving force, he said the driving force in punk music at that time was skepticism, you know, to be skeptical of everything, of authority and you know, to speak out for women's rights and animal rights and the jobless situation, and which
makes it a direct descendant of, you know,
of the music in the 60s.
Of the 60s.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean essentially, interestingly enough, of folk music.
Right, exactly.
You know, so, and I'd never thought of it that way until it just came out of my mouth, you know, punk as a descendant of folk music.
Yeah. And that's probably why this genre exists, punk folk, because it does exist. Mm-hmm. And you can see why that genre would exist, because it's like taking punk rock sensibilities and flipping it to where the music is more of a folk based situation.
Yeah. That's cool. Very cool.
I would consider like Ani DeFranco
Yeah, she's got a bit of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. Gotta love Ani.
They did a whole segment on what is straight edge for people who aren't familiar with the straight edge movement, and I thought that was good to, not to just talk about straight edge, but to actually explain to people what it meant to be straight edge. And that started in the 80s and mainly started, I guess, in the DC area.
Yeah.
Where the straight edge community came out of. Oh, there was a really cute scene where there was like a graduate seminar or something taking place at a university.
That was funny.
Yeah.
And all of the graduates were kids, maybe 5 or 6 year old kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're all asking all of these incredibly advanced questions of the lecturer. So yeah, it was really funny. That was great.
And then one kid just says, "I like cows. Cows are cute." And another little kid goes, "I like cows too." And then one little kid goes, "Can we yell?" And of course the professor says, "Oh yes, in punk music there's lots of yelling." So then the kids start
all go crazy. They're
running around,
bouncing off the walls and yelling. Yeah.
Screaming and yelling. I thought that was a really cute.
Yeah, it was super fun.
Yeah, cute scene. There was another cute cut scene where it was like a fake news broadcast.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And the news anchor is interviewing Moby as the devil.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they named the newscaster Ava Braun.
Yeah, Ava Braun. And Moby as the devil was just saying how good that animal agriculture is for the devil.
Yes, that it was just the perfect form of evil.
Yeah, that he loves it, and business is good.
Yeah.
It was really well done.
Yeah, and how brilliant it was of him to, make people crave this product that not only kills them eventually, but also requires the killing of billions of sentient beings per year. He's like, it doesn't get any better than that. Yeah, so it was very effective.
Yeah, it was funny, really funny. And then there was another cute scene with Moby and his dog Bagel where they're like in the spa.
Oh yeah, that was
with
funny.
like cucumbers on their eyes, and like Bagel
ate the cucumbers. Yeah.
Yeah. Moby's like, "Did you eat your cucumber, Bagel?" Yeah, and Bagel calls him. They're both laying on their chaises, and of course Bagel has his own little tiny chaise lounge, which is adorable. Mm-hmm. And there's music playing in the background, and they have a voiceover for Bagel.
Yes,
and Bagel says, "What's this music?" And Moby's like, oh, this is mine. This is one of my songs. And he's like, you're like the male Enya.
Yeah, you're the boy Enya.
Yeah, then at the end of the exchange, he's like, "Thank you, boy Enya." Or she, Bagel is a girl.
Yes, Bagel is a girl.
Yeah. There was a really interesting segment on touring as a punk rock vegan, which brought to my mind all the stories that Andy Tabar used to tell on the Bearded Vegans, because he was in a I don't think they were more like a hardcore ska band, and what were they? The Flaming Tsunamis. I'm pretty sure that was the name of his band. Anyway, once he went vegan, he would like make these giant vats of vegan chili.
Yeah.
For everybody in the band and whoever needed food, and that's how they would feed themselves when they were on the road on tour. And so yeah, they were interviewing everybody and asking them how they fed themselves when they were touring around. And mind you, most of these bands, when we talk about tour, they don't have tour buses and stuff like that.
No.
It's a bunch of guys in a dirty van with nothing, no place to sleep and whatever. And one guy said, "We had a thing of tahini and a jar of miso or something
and a 5-pound bag of rice.
And a 5-pound bag of rice. And then they would like find vegetables somewhere and, put it all in a vat and cook it. And that's what they would eat.
Right.
A lot of people ate, of course, bread and French fries along the way. So, it would have been hard back then because
absolutely
there weren't vegan options,
Not like there are now.
No.
Heavens no.
Yeah. So most of them, tried to be prepared by bringing, cans of vegetables or whatever. The one guy said that they would find a grocery store, go to the health food section, and get those boxes of soy milk that you used to be able to get. I think you might still be able to buy those boxes of soy milk, and a box of cereal. And they didn't even have bowls. They would put some cereal in their mouths and swig a little bit out of the box of soy milk.
It works.
Yeah, definitely works. Yeah. So there is a song by a band called Gorilla Biscuits, and the song is called Cats and Dogs. The message of this song is it's about speciesism.
Right.
About how we treat cats and dogs like members of our family and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then people will turn around and eat other things like pigs and cows and chickens. And because the message of that song is really great, Moby had this choir, the Liberation Choir, sing this song. I think they were at a farm sanctuary somewhere in California. Gentle Barn. It was the Gentle Barn Farm Sanctuary. And I thought that was a really awesome idea.
That was great.
Yeah.
To
have this choir sing that song. Because I think for a lot of people, it really hits home when you hear it being sung that way, where you can hear every word. You don't have the lyrics in front of you, and
Yeah, no, it gives it a completely different context.
Yeah.
Than a punk song does, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they went through all the different stages of punk rock, late 70s, 80s, into the 90s. And in the 90s, we got bands like Earth Crisis out of Syracuse, New York, Fall Out Boy, Rise Against, Refused, and the International Noise Conspiracy. There was so many good bands out there. I mean, there's still a good punk scene today. That's another thing about punk, is that it's got a lot of staying power as a genre. People who are into punk will find punk.
Yeah.
And I think that Moby wrapped up the movie really nicely.
Oh, that's the thing that we have to tell people about.
Yeah. Oh, the thing after the credits?
Yes, the Easter egg after the credits. So if you do go to YouTube and you watch yourself some punk rock vegan movie, which I highly recommend.
Yeah, I recommend everybody watches this film.
Yes, but you must watch all the way through the credits. There's a wonderful Easter egg at the end.
Yeah.
We're not going to tell you what it is. No spoilers.
No.
Just know that there is a wonderful Easter egg at
really
the end
cool.
of the credits. Yeah. Super cool. Little creepy. Awesome.
Well, you kind of skipped ahead. What I wanted to talk about was when he was wrapping up at the end, and he was saying when he was finishing the film, he was thinking, he had to have some kind of dramatic and powerful ending to end it all. And then he just ended up ending it with just him as a, talking head, and talking about how we don't have to go along with the status quo.
That's right.
That if you want to see change, you have to make it.
Absolutely.
And then it went to the credits, and then there's the Easter egg after the credits.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Definitely go out to YouTube. I'll have a link in the show notes to Moby's YouTube where you can watch this film.
Yep.
I highly, highly, highly recommend you watch this film, whether you're a punk rock fan or not. It has a lot to say about art and activism.
It sure does. Yep. It's pretty great.
Yeah.
So thank you, Moby, not only for creating this fantastic piece of activist art, but also for sharing it with the world and making it available to us for free.
Yeah, for free.
That's fantastic.
It's awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah. And again, look in the show notes for my Spotify list if you're interested in checking out some of the music from the film.
I'm going to check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Hey, do you have one of your 72 reasons to be vegan this week?
Well, they're actually not my 72 reasons to be vegan. Okay, just to remind everybody, these are the 72 reasons to be vegan as determined by Gene Stone and Kathy Freston in their book titled 72 Reasons to be Vegan, Why Plant-Based, Why Now? And so, yes, I do. I have one of their 72 reasons.
Well, that's convenient.
Today, isn't it though?
Yeah.
It helps when you have the book right there on the coffee table.
It does.
Yeah. Very convenient. So anyway, yes, this week I'm going for reason number 44. And reason number 44 is that cows love classical music.
That's sweet.
Isn't it, though?
Yeah.
Just to give you a little bit of context here, just like pigs and chickens, cows are much more intelligent than most people realize. They create complex social orders. They understand cause and effect relationships, which is a sign of advanced cognitive abilities. They keep friendships with their besties for life when given the chance, and have unusually powerful mother-calf relationships. And yes, like pigs, like humans, like individuals in any species, some may be a little dumber than others. Most of this isn't surprising to those who have spent any time with animals. What has surprised even bovinophiles is cows' elegant taste in music. In 2014, musicians from the Cleveland Orchestra visited Woodstock Farm Sanctuary in New York to see if rescued cows had any interest in classical music. The moment the music started, a shy cow named Maybelle immediately shuffled toward the musicians and was soon joined by her friends, who were particularly fond of the oboe and violin. Want more? Search online for Cows Love Classical Music and watch the dozens of videos.
I have seen a couple of those videos. I want to be what did they call it? A bovinophile?
Bovinophile.
Bovinophile?
I think you are a bovinophile.
Am I a bovinophile?
Well, you love cows.
I do. I do love cows. There's also a really touching video out there of a man playing cello to a rescue elephant, and the elephant begins to weep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really, really moving. Yeah, I mean, animals have feelings, people.
Yes, they do.
They're just like you and me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're incredibly intelligent, and they don't necessarily express that intelligence in exactly the same way that we do, but it doesn't mean it's not there.
No. I think some people are, I don't know if it was on a television show or something. Somebody said they didn't like a specific animal or something because they couldn't tell what they were thinking.
Oh, well, that right there, that says a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times when people can't relate to non-human animals, that has something to do with it. The communication barrier, right? That you don't know what they're thinking. And even with like our cats and our companion animals, I do sometimes look at them and go, what is going on in their brain right now?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Know?
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm sorry, if you want to know what's going on with an animal, just look right in their eyes.
Yep.
That's all you need to do.
Yeah.
And you'll see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good reason. I like that one.
Thank you very much. I like that one too.
We have a new segment we're going to start.
Alrighty then.
Listener shout outs.
Cool. Let's shout out some listeners.
Yeah. So this week's listener shout out goes out to Emily Alsop.
All right.
Hey, Emily. Emily has been a loyal listener. That's hard to say. From way back.
Yes.
I mean, she's a future veterinarian, an avid runner, an enthusiastic vocal vegan. Thanks for listening and supporting us, Emily.
And it was also really nice, Emily, to meet your mom.
Oh, yeah, we met Emily's mom at the market.
At the market on Saturday. That was pretty awesome.
Yep, and I actually got some goodies coming Emily's way.
All right.
Yeah.
Love it.
So check your mailbox in a couple of days there, Emily, if you're listening on Tuesday.
Ooh, so you're sending fun swag to those that you shout out?
I am.
Love that.
If they're willing to share where they are, I will send them a bag of swag.
All right. So, hey, listeners, start sending those addresses Christine's way.
Yeah. So, that's our listener of the week. Thank you once again, Emily Alsop. You are our biggest fan. And we're yours.
It's true.
Let's move on to housekeeping.
All right, let's do it. So if you like, you can join our ongoing Food Not Bombs fundraiser. Oh, it's actually great to meet Annette from Food Not Bombs on Saturday. She came in and sat down at the Food Not Bombs table, and Christine said, hey, we're raising money for you. So yes, we still have our Food Not Bombs fundraiser at our Buy Me a Coffee site. That's www.buymeacoffee.com/cucumbers.
Yeah. Hey, we want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. Email us or DM us your show ideas or cookbook recommendations, recipes that you love, or subjects that you want us to touch on and talk about.
Yeah.
I really want to hear. I think last week I was talking about how sometimes it feels like we're yelling into a void. Mm-hmm. I would really love feedback. I know you're out there. I see that you're listening. Send me an email or DM me, even, whatever, just to say, hey, I listened to this episode and you thought this about that episode, or, I think you should touch on this subject, or have you ever tried this cookbook, or here's a recipe that I've been making that I thought you might really like and you might want to talk about. Anything. I just love hearing from you.
Yeah.
I love it when people email me or DM me on Instagram. It just makes my day.
There you go. So go for it. Also, you can subscribe to our YouTube. Gotta love that.
You can.
And I actually have noticed that our YouTube viewings have been ticking up in the past few days.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, a lot of people like YouTube, the YouTube platform. It's a little more user-friendly than some of the podcast apps.
This is true.
And you have, like I've said before, the ability to comment on what the video or the audio is about. So yeah, subscribe to our YouTube. Just go to YouTube, type in Compassion and Cucumbers, and
we'll pop right up.
We will pop up. Join our Patreon. The link is always in the show notes. If you would like to become a patron of the podcast, we have 3 different levels of support, and each one of those levels comes with its very own bonuses.
Cool.
And any money that we earn from our Patreon will go to improve the podcast.
Sure will. If you are so inclined, please feel free to leave us a review on your podcast app if it allows. And of course, once again, we all know Christine wants...
I want you to leave a review on your podcast. Oh, 5 stars.
Yeah, that's
5 stars.
That's it. That's the thing that you want. Now, if you can't do that, just go ahead and share the show with a friend or family member that you think might enjoy what we do.
Yeah, and share our social media posts. It's the easiest way to support us, and it costs you nothing. Share and like and comment and all that good jazz.
Absolutely. And last but not least, if you can, go ahead and join the AFA Vegan Voter Hub and support their wonderful work if you are able. Okay, again, this is the Agriculture Fairness Alliance, and they are working hard in Washington, D.C. and beyond to make our vegan voices heard as a new legislative session moves forward.
Yeah. Join the Voter Hub. And I think that's it. That wraps up housekeeping.
Yeah.
And that wraps up episode 74 of the Compassion and Cucumbers podcast.
Wow. We're coming to a landmark next week. 75.
Yeah, 75.
Wow.
Look at that.
That's pretty cool.
Who thought we would ever get this far?
I think I did.
Yeah. I mean, they say a lot of podcasts, they call it pod fading.
Yes. You said
after
before
like
10 episodes.
Yeah, 10 episodes.
Yeah. Well, we're well past that. We have not pod faded.
We're not going to fade.
No.
We're
sticking around. We're just getting started.
Yeah. And it's so funny because just yesterday, was it yesterday? It was either yesterday or Saturday. We were talking about how difficult it is to wrap up the show.
Yes.
And here we are once again.
Yammering.
Yeah, yammering in the wrap up.
Yes.
So
we need to stop that.
All right. We're going to stop.
We are.
Thank you again for listening and supporting us, everybody. We love you all.
Have a fantastic week.
Took the words right out of my mouth. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Do you want to support the Compassion and Cucumbers podcast? Well, you can do that by joining our Patreon page. We have 3 different levels of support, and all 3 come with their own special bonuses. Hey, you can support the podcast and get yourself some really cool merch. All the links and deets are in the show notes. We'll catch you next week on the next episode of Compassion and Cucumbers.